The Miami Dolphins. A team that teases greatness, flirts with dominance, but ultimately finds itself shackled by the same old problems. Year after year, the story plays out like a script we've seen too many times before. Speed on the outside. Check. A quarterback who, when given time, can carve up defenses? Absolutely. A coach who understands how to create offensive fireworks? No doubt. But then reality sets in. The same Achilles heel, one that has haunted this franchise for years, rears its ugly head. And here we are once again, forced to ask the question, when will Miami finally invest in the trenches like a team that actually wants to win? Because let's be real, it doesn't matter how many highlight reel plays this offense can produce. It doesn't matter how many 40-yard dimes are dropped into the hands of speedsters streaking down the field. If the offensive line can't keep its quarterback upright, if the defensive front can't control the line of scrimmage, all of it is just noise. The Miami Dolphins don't have a talent problem. They have a foundation problem. And no amount of scheming or creativity can cover for that when the games matter most. ESPN's Matt Miller, to his credit, seems to understand this. His latest two-round mock draft doesn't cater to the fantasy football crowd. It doesn't chase the next flashy weapon. Instead, it focuses on fixing what actually needs to be fixed. Missouri offensive lineman Armand Membu in the first round. South Carolina defensive lineman TJ Sanders in the second. No nonsense. No distractions. Just business. And let's start with Membu. Because if there is one area Miami absolutely cannot afford to ignore, it's the offensive line. This isn't a recent issue. This isn't a bad luck season. This is a systemic failure that has lasted for what feels like an eternity. Year after year, we see the same thing: injuries, inconsistency, collapses in critical moments. The line has been shuffled, rearranged, patched together, and yet the results remain the same. At some point, the Dolphins need to stop trying to get by and actually build a unit that can be relied upon. He's a player who brings power, who brings toughness, who doesn't just fill a hole, but has the potential to be a legitimate difference maker. At 6'3", 320 pounds, this isn't some project pick. This is a player built to be an anchor. Miami has flirted with fixing this offensive line before, but never with the kind of urgency it deserves. If they are serious, if they actually want to protect their quarterback, if they actually want to run the ball when it matters, then a pick like Membu isn't just smart, it's mandatory. But let's not stop there, because the offensive line isn't the only unit in dire need of attention. The defensive front? A disaster waiting to happen. Losing Christian Wilkins wasn't just about losing production. It was about losing attitude, losing an identity. The Dolphins weren't just watching a player walk out the door. They were watching the heartbeat of their defense disappear. And now they're staring down a defensive line that could be completely gutted in free agency, with Calais Campbell, Deshaun Hand, and Benito Jones all hitting the open market. So what's the solution? TJ Sanders, a name that won't make headlines, a pick that won't set social media on fire, but one that matters, because Sanders is disruptive. He's quick. He plays with the kind of energy that this defense desperately needs to replace. No, he's not Christian Wilkins. But that's the point. The Dolphins can't keep reacting to losses after the fact. They have to be proactive. They have to start replenishing these units before they become liabilities. And let's be honest, this isn't just about plugging holes. This is about philosophy, about mindset, about what kind of team Miami wants to be. Because 2 linemen in 2 rounds, it's a step in the right direction. But is it enough? Look around the league. Look at the teams that dominate. What do they have in common? Physicality in the trenches. The ability to control the game at the line of scrimmage. The Dolphins, for all their talent, have never fully embraced that approach. They've tried to outspeed their problems. They've tried to finesse their way through matchups. But when it's January, when the weather gets cold, when the margin for error disappears, that kind of football gets exposed. And here's the real concern. Do the Dolphins actually understand this? Because Membu and Sanders are solid picks. But if Miami is serious, if they actually want to win at the highest level, this can't be where the investment stops. There are more names on the board. Texas offensive lineman Kelvin Banks Jr., a player who could bring much-needed stability. Malachi Starks, a Georgia safety who could add some juice to a secondary that had its own issues in 2024. Another strong possibility. There are options. There are moves to be made. But the question remains, will the Dolphins make them? Are they going to finally invest in the foundation? Are they going to prioritize the trenches the way championship teams do? Or are they going to keep chasing excitement, hoping that explosive plays can mask structural weaknesses? Because make no mistake, this isn't just another offseason. This is a defining moment. The window is open. But if the Dolphins don't make the right decisions now, if they don't commit to fixing the real issues, that window is going to slam shut. And when it does, there will be no excuses left.